Guys, Valentine's Day is coming up and it's time to elevate your romantic side. Don't worry, Uncle Chael is here to help. Go check out underluckystars.com. They make beautiful star maps showing the unique alignment of the stars during a place and time chosen by you. Birthday, engagement, wedding, a first kiss. It's an incredible gift to signify an important moment in your life. All you need to do is enter the time and location of your special moment, and you'll receive a beautiful archival print on museum quality thick matte art paper showing the exact constellation of the stars that were above you during that special moment in time. These maps are gorgeous, and this special gift will last for generations. Under Lucky Stars is the original star map maker, and their proprietary star mapping method is verified by NASA astrophysicists to ensure their accuracy. Visit underluckystars.com/Chael. That'll get you a 10% discount with code Chael, or just click on the link below. Eddie Hearn came out. Eddie Hearn was at a press conference and talked about Jake Paul. Said Jake Paul is good for boxing, bad for MMA. But Eddie Hearn's a very well-respected guy. And just so you understand the history, Eddie Hearn was the promoter of the first fight that Jake Paul ever did. Eddie put that fight, I want to say they went to England, but they sold the thing out. Jake Paul, is that where he took on the YouTuber, something along these lines? I get confused between he and his brother, but his first fight ever. You guys recall this. So Eddie kind of had a seat at the table, and Eddie's opinion kind of matters. Eddie really surprised me because, first off, that's his guy. He's got a history with him, but moreover, Eddie put him down. And Eddie's a very charismatic and handsome guy. Like, Eddie can put somebody down without it feeling like an insult. You kind of got to read the words. Go, okay, I don't think it was mean-spirited. His body language was light. It was friendly, and he was attempting to be sincere, but he put Jake down all the same, and it surprised me. How you could possibly put Jake Paul down really does surprise me. And there's a lot of guys within the boxing world that don't think Jake should be able to come over. He hasn't sacrificed the same. He's not as good. He's not as experienced. He's making the most money, getting the most media, and closing out the night. So if you're on the card, you're now an opening act for the star, which is Jake Paul. That creates jealousy. You can see where that would come from. We don't have that in MMA. I have been on cards where my pay was directly related to the sales of the evening. I wanted the biggest star there was. I didn't care if it was Brock Lesnar. I don't jerk the curtain for very many guys, but boy, if there's a guy worth jerking it for, I don't mind being the co-main. I mean, in all fair, I don't really care. Herschel Walker went over, did a fight. Herschel Walker, what an athletic success. You guys, of course, know him from football. You know him from MMA. Herschel Walker's the NCAA champion in track and field. Don't even make me bring up the time he bobsledded in the Olympic game. This guy is an ultimate athlete, but that's a big deal. We don't do a lot of that in MMA. You can't do a lot of that at MMA. It's contact sport. It's not like watching two celebrities play horseshoes or have a debate or anything like that. It's very unique. So the very few times when we got somebody who was worthy and willing, Herschel Walker would be my example. When he came and did it, man, that's a cool thing. So I don't know why boxing would be resistant. And fellow boxers that look at it with the platform that I just laid out, Jake Paul, less experience. Jake Paul, less sacrifice. Jake Paul, less time in the sport. As a way of deducing if he can fill up an arena or not, guys, that's not on Jake Paul. You're looking at the wrong guy. You know who's responsible for the Jake Paul experiment? Go see the man in the mirror. Jake Paul fights in arenas, roughly 15,000 people. When he did it in England, much more. I can't remember, 30-some thousand. They're the ones that decided they want to see Jake go do it. So I would start with that. Secondly, when I hear somebody say that Jake isn't as good, it's a very frustrating topic with me. Because there are sports where that's true. Simone Biles will jump off a beam and in the air hit an entire another tuck before she lands than any other human being. She will quite literally do things that no other human being can do. Jake Paul is very limited in what he can do because boxing is very limited. Jake Paul can throw a left hand. He can throw a right hand. He can make that a body shot. He can turn it into an uppercut, a hook. There's nothing else he can do. All the while, he's going to move his head. He's going to do some flinches, something we call footwork. His opponent's doing the exact same thing. Everybody else on the card is going to do the exact same thing. The guys, Triple G, Canelo, Tyson Fury. Take the biggest stars that you can. They do the same thing. They're not Simone Biles. Tyson Fury, top of his sport, is not like Simone, where he's going to go out and actually do something that you cannot see anywhere else. Has a unique talent that nobody else can do, and therefore he's the best. No, hell no. He's got a left and a right hand. He can take it to the body, he can take it to the head. Throw it about his neck, chest, and face. That's all you can do while moving your feet a little bit, trying not to get hit back and being in level good shape to do it for the duration of the evening. They're all doing the same thing. What do you tell me? One boxer's better than another boxer? At what? At what? I can submit for you sports where only the elite can do, and then I can fill in the blank. I can talk about your outside shooters at basketball. I talk about the guy you don't want to foul because he gets to the free throw line. I can tell you in certain sports, certain skills that are going to get you paid and separate you and set you apart. Can't do it in boxing, but you can't do it either. They both use left and right hands. They both try to knock out their opponent while that opponent is trying to knock them out. The end. It's very straightforward. So when somebody tells me somebody is a better boxer, based on what? Even if they box and he could beat him, he could be better at the very limited things you're allowed to do in the sport. Okay, I guess I would listen to that. I don't know that you're making sense, particularly when I confront you with Simone Biles, who will literally go in the beam and do things that no other human being can do. It is very unique. You can't miss her. You cannot deny where she's at. She has a level of athleticism that the rest of the world is trying to catch it and just hasn't. Jake Paul can do exactly what Triple G can do. Jake Paul does do exactly what Canelo does. Jake Paul can do what Tyson Fury does. And no more. It's a limited sport. It's a limited activity. Tell me Jake Paul's not as good of a boxer as somebody. What are you talking about? In other martial arts, I got a black belt in jiu-jitsu under Fabiano Scherner. But to get that black belt, there were things that I had to demonstrate and show Coach Cerner so that he understood that I got the curriculum and would elevate me. It's a very hard black belt to get under Fabiano Scherner, but I got one. I'm bragging. It took me 20 years. But I didn't get it because he liked me. I didn't get it because I paid more money. I was the slowest black belt he's ever had. It took me 20 years. I fought for 5 world championships. I couldn't get a black belt. You can't get a black belt until you master certain skills in boxing. So, do you guys see the difference? If you wanted to learn jiu-jitsu and you had Chael, who's a black belt under Fabiano Scherner, versus your buddy up the road who took in a couple of classes, do you see where it would be better to have the black belt? I'm going to have experience and I'm going to have knowledge. I'm going to understand through positions and training how to handle and defend and defeat somebody from different spots, more so than your buddy that caught a couple of seminars. Can we agree? Sure. Do you believe that there's anything Floyd Mayweather can show you that Jake Paul can't? Do you believe that Triple G knows something and therefore he's better than Jake Paul? He got 2 hands, 4 allowed punches, jab, power shot, hook, uppercut. There's nothing else that's allowed. Jake Paul has ever been as good of a boxer as anybody else. He understands range. His endurance holds up. He knows how to do stuff from the clinch because he was an old high school wrestler out of Ohio. He is as good a boxer as anybody else. Is he as good at boxing? No. That's a completely different conversation. And for Eddie Hearn, who's in a sport that is drowning, it has always been drowning, to come out and put a guy down who moves the needle, it surprised me. I'm not really putting Eddie down. I happen to be a fan. But I can also be surprised when it's one of your own. I coached many athletes over the years. I would never speak out again. There's something there. I promoted many guys over the years. I would never put a knife in their back. There's something that they leave me and go on all the time. It was still part of it. Still part of their career. There's still a bond. There's still a loyalty. I thought it was surprising that Eddie did it, and I also think that he's incorrect. When people want to talk about, I'm a better boxer than Jake Paul. No, you aren't. Are you better at boxing? Well, you ought to be. He's only been at it for 2 years, you dumb